for the permit. I don't care if you buy a permit. Do you know how little I actually care if you have a permit?
Complaining about the fact that he received no support from that. I think Boat has some.
Yes, I
some
do.
leaks for us.
Oh, I got some leaks for you.
It's like simple shit like that. Nope, simple shit like that. If he can't answer that,
I need to break in because I need more original every week. That's a goal.
Do you really actually get paid for that? Because you deserve money for that last one. That one was a fucking amazing setup.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Push to Talk, and I've got those guys muted because they're still talking. I can see it. So I'm going to bring them on live here. Let's see what they're talking about.
Sitting on Eric. Hey, Eric is here. No, Mist needs to talk first, Eric. Mist needs to...
Okay, let's get talk first.
We'll let the formalities of the introduction go first. Are we live yet?
You're live as live can be, brother.
We are on the internet. Cool. We're calling in from Eve London, the last leg of the Invasion Tour. I would like to give you guys a confirmed answer of a yes or no if I've had a good time. I want to go back and consult other people first.
Did we lose them?
Oh boy.
No. I was hoping that people would laugh and say things.
No. You're not funny.
Wreck.
I think it's safe to say people are having a good time at Eve London from what I'm hearing. What do you guys think?
Yeah, they have, yeah. It's quite interesting with Hilmar saying, yes, there will be changes in 1 month's time, and the devs be like, what?
Yeah, so Sally, just so you know, Mist is on his cell phone at Eve London live. He's our on the sideline reporter, as they say in ESPN land here in the U.S.
It's going to be a very quick drive by as well.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be hanging.
Yeah, he's not quite as attractive as that Aaron Andrews, but he's the best we've got, guys. So have to be with him.
He needs to learn still.
I am looking forward to teaming up with the Triglavians to go kick Concord's ass.
Oh, I already picked my side. I'm on the Triglavian side too. Fuck Empire. We should make a bumper sticker. Fuck the Empire.
And also, anyone who has not seen the stream, there's a great thing where... The thing is, I don't know if Hilmar's like doing this jokingly or seriously. He looks at the dread and goes, that's a really cool thing. I want one of those. When can I have one of those? And it's like, Rise says, Tuesday?
Tuesday.
And then someone in the audience shouts out, after 10 days, Bill.
The IUD dread.
So the Triglavian dread that gets stronger after every cycle, etc. He looked clueless at least, so maybe that and a lot of people have that idea he's that anyway. So yeah.
He either deserves an Oscar for that acting, or he seriously just showed everyone he has no idea about the Triglavians. Because he kept on calling stuff the big things. So he had the big thing, which is the Ark, the big thing, which is the Dread, and the big thing, which is the Observatory.
He's keeping it simple for you drunk British people.
Oh, shots fired.
I completely missed that. I can't hear anything at the moment.
Yeah, that's fine. You just go drink more, Mist, and have more fun.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. So, also, there was like up to 5 people have recognised me. So, I would like to say first, thank you very much to all the listeners, and then also ask, why do you tune in again?
Spy.
Bye.
Catch you later,
Right.
guys.
See you, Mist.
Okay.
All right.
Now we can talk about the good things.
Yes.
And our ears stay alive. That's very important.
It is. So hold it. Let's hold on the good things in London, because Hyper Viper popped in, and he has interesting things to talk about too.
Yeah, but
I don't know if Dirk told him why he was coming here to talk, but he's here.
Well, London is more important than the things he's about to talk. That takes a year. London is what happened there is close by, is news, and then.
Apple, you can take your tea and go throw it off the into. No, but the team's looking really good. We're getting everything sorted for Vegas 2020 and get the word out there that it is happening. You know, a lot of people think since CCP said, "Oh, we're not doing next year," that it would end the festivities in Vegas, but I was not going to let that happen. So we have a very diverse team. I don't know if you have the link that you can put in the stream.
I am looking for it right now, and I'm going to put the link to the tweet so that they can follow that to the Reddit and the survey.
Yeah, so
there you go.
When we were in the thank you. We were planning like what are we going to do? You know, we're like, okay, should we try to copy CCP and just try to put on the same event as them? But then we realized, you know what? We're not CCP. We're the players. We're here to hang out, have a good time. So we're really doing this to help, people can help shape what we're going to do. So we want to be about the players and everybody go there, hang out, have fun, enjoy the time, and hang out with fellow nerds. So this way, this kind of helps you guys to focus where we're going to be putting the effort to make it a great event. So,
are you going to join forces with CCP like Eve North does?
So something that's a little bit different than yes, we have reached out to CCP. They have expressed interest in wanting to come out and help, send some devs to us. The thing that separates this Vegas 2020 compared to the other ones, all the other events have been kind of handled mostly by CCP, all the financial stuff like that, whereas Vegas 2020 will be not having any of that as of right now. So we will be putting everything together, venues, contracts, all that, which I'm handling out here, obviously since I'm one of the locals out here, and with all the different people. So it's going to be really neat. We have a lot of great ideas and a lot of stuff that I can't wait to share, but I don't want to spoil the goodies that we're going to have planned for next year already. But it's going to be a good time, and I think everybody's going to really enjoy it.
Yeah, I think they are. And some of the chat that I don't know if you see Hyper Viper or not, they were mentioning eVegas is for everyone. And as I recall, the folks planning, it's not just Imperium people planning this, right? It's other people outside the Imperium. You've got some folks.
We have people from Horde. We have test people. We have let's see, pull up we have Rick's Javix is doing the artwork for us. He's done some great stuff for a lot of the charity events. We have Streamfleet on the team. We have
Grey Gal.
Yeah, we have Grey Gal. We have Codiz, who's planning the who's with Test. He does the new New Orleans that's coming up this coming year. And we also have Greydor from Horde. He does what I do for the Imperium, and does the Horde dinner. So he plans for that, and so we have a really great, diverse team that we're just putting everything together, and I think this is gonna be awesome.
So, did I hear there's a New Orleans thing going on this year?
Yes, there is a new Eve New Orleans. They already have a.
So I have 3 vacations now I have to plan for next year. My family one and my 2 Eve ones.
Wait, there's an Eve thing going on in New
Orleans. New Orleans.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm really close to that.
Yeah.
Caleb, you will not see Dirk on Bourbon Street. He'll get 10 feet into Bourbon Street and be done.
It'll be the best thing ever. Dirk Cam on Bourbon Street.
Dirk
Put
Cam.
a camera on his head.
I've never went to New Orleans.
Really? It's great.
I haven't driven through there, but
I love it.
I drove through Louisiana. That's about it.
DeMorg and Mrs. DeMorg and Eric and Mrs. Eric went one year for a seminar that I was presenting at. It was pretty cool.
So Carneros, I see you asking. It's going to be in May. Pulling up the information for the Eve New Orleans stuff. May 22nd to the 20th.
Okay.
So, but yeah, no, there are lots of great. I mean, the best team you could possibly want for planning an event is a part of the Eve Vegas 2020. So, we're really excited.
Very excited. Very excited.
I just want to see the parade of goon flags and Eve nerd flags going down Bourbon Street. That would be amazing.
When you have flags and stuff going down streets, it tends to have certain implications. But yeah, I'm sure.
We'll just have a big banner saying, "Hey, we just play video games."
Video
I'm
games.
serious.
Video games.
Yeah.
I mean, you're actually going to need that if it's the Imperium logo flag.
Well, if there's a lot of guys in front with trumpets and banjos, right? That kind of negates all extreme right-wing affiliation.
I look at the Imperium banner and I just see a gaming group and a really cool logo. I just don't see these
eagle.
weird
You
things.
need to read up on your history, Eric. It's an eagle in black.
I know what it is. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Let's not do a vote. Let's not do a vote on the show and talk about it.
All right, so we've got that. What else? We have by a horrendous drive-by, apparently, it looks like here. But he hasn't said anything yet.
No, I've just been hanging out.
I'm just here hanging out.
But can we now talk about the good things that came out of
Let's talk about the good things, because Apple Pear is itching to talk about good things about Eve, which is so nice to have in the show finally. So
I'm so happy, like and they spoiled it already a bit earlier that they were maybe planning to do it, but the best thing.
Hold it. First, I think we have to start off with the absolute best thing we've heard about Eve or seen in any CCP thing. That was a really cool fish tank.
I didn't see the fish tank.
And all the good stuff. Where's the fish tank?
What it was right there.
I haven't watched anything.
You'll see.
You just get us a picture, but I was talking about more important things that makes me excited for ages already. That I wanted this, and
trust me, having watched it, the fish tank was more important.
No, sorry, it is more important that the defender cannot decide the day anymore when the structure comes out, the Citadel comes out. So we finally can force weekend fights on Citadel or whatever time zone, and it's not on Wednesday 6 o'clock in the morning anymore. This is just the best thing ever, and I'm looking forward to it, and I want that to happen soon and fast, and then we can shoot all the things and have a lot of structures to bash and shoot and force people to fight us.
You guys must also be excited about the fact that we are going to be able to see CCP play the game, point and laugh and kill them repeatedly.
Yeah, but that's also important. That is the second most important thing I think that came out of this. But the Citadel timer thing is, in my opinion, still more important. Nobody else has to.
I love the Citadel timer thing. I want them to drop all their loot too.
I don't have any problems with the Citadel timer thing. I do wish that they'd given us more information on how they determine whether or not you can drop a medium structure in X system.
Yes. You need solve, right?
Well, do you need to be the solve holder?
Yes, you do.
And if so, does that mean that you need to have the TCU or the iHub?
They didn't mention that, but they said that they wanted you have to have, you can't aggressively launch anything smaller than an extra lot, right?
Shall we talk about them first? You're dropping in a lot, but let's then first come back to a bit. And what is the change? The change is what they said is that for a medium structure, and medium structures are the things like the small refineries, the Astra houses. I call ass houses because it's a much better name. The Retaros, etc.
Athanos, Retaros, and Astra houses.
Yeah, ass houses. Yes, those structures you can only drop in systems that are, of course, your own stuff, or that has a lower ADM than 4 if it's enemy stuff. That's the change they're saying there, and they put out there. And what Randus now is suggesting, like, are they now going to look to the TCU for that, or do the iHub for that?
It's actually a little bit more. My question is actually a little bit more complicated than that. Is how are they determining, quote, enemy solve? Is it just any solve that isn't yours? Because, like, for example, how many solve systems do we have structures in that, you know, a different alliance in the coalition owns the system?
Yeah.
Is this something where there's going to be ACLs on whatever the solve structure is?
Hopefully.
I mean, how are they doing this?
I don't think they've thought that far, Arendis.
And they only talked about dropping, eh?
If it's
and they
coming
talked
out
about
on
dropping.
December 10th in 2 weeks or so, they damn near better have it thought out.
But Arendis, they only talked about dropping the structure, not owning the structure, huh? That's a big difference and something you need to be because you can own a structure.
But now you gotta get other people to drop it for you and then transfer it over.
Yeah.
Except you can't transfer shit over if you're at war.
Or you could just have sovereignty in the space where you're actually sovereign, which sort of makes sense.
No.
That
Too much.
that makes sense
How dare you?
in some ways, but it doesn't make sense in others. For example,
Yeah, it doesn't make sense for gaming the system.
it doesn't even make sense for coalitions living in the same area.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense for mutual defense setup.
And one thing that and on the one hand you say yes, that's a change and etc. But on the other hand, it is a nice way, and maybe our enemies complain a bit too much, but we use this ability to drop a structure in enemy soft very much because and it already had a disadvantage because it looked at the strategic index. That's the index you have how long you own the iHub in the soft. Depending amount of days, you can have a strat index from 1 to 5, and it added it is 24 hours plus 24 hours for everything for strat index. So the maximum time it could take for your citadel to anchor was 6 days. So they already had a big advantage on being able to form against it. And what I think what I loved doing with this ability is dropping these structures in enemy space so that we had a place to force a fight, and if they didn't fight us, then we had a place where we could form from and attack from. And I think it's especially sad for places. For Delve, it's not that important, Fountain and other places, because that all lives within NPC null or low sec range. So there's always a place for enemies to come into. But if you look into the drone lands, it doesn't have any NPC space or anything like that. So if they make sure that all their soft is 4.0 or higher, it will be very hard for attacking forces to already get in there, because you have to take case if you want to bring capitals in there anyway. But it will also be hard for attacking forces to create a beachhead where they can form attacks from. So on the one hand you say it's good, but on the other hand I think it's it takes away a bit of forcing fights and the ability to attack an enemy.
At the same time, as a counterpoint to that, it really only does that to the little guys, because it only affects medium strike. Now, if you want a beachhead, you drop a Fortizar.
That's true.
Yeah, but you don't know what other changes are coming down the pipeline. You might drop a Fortizar and you might just be dropping a giant pinata that's easy to destroy.
No, we don't know what other changes are coming down the pipeline, because there's no patch notes for it. And if the stuff coming out in 4 days is any indication, which is apparently supposed to include the rapid fire stuff, then hey, we're not going to get any actual information on the technical changes here until it actually goes live.
Yeah, it's sort of great.
Fantastic. 1 step forward, 2 steps back, CCP.
That's not entirely fair.
I think it is.
We've just had what 6-9 months of bullshit, and now we're actually getting shit.
I'm quite happy. Like that the medium structure thing is not the biggest issue for me. And then there is something reading about restricting tether for hostiles in low sec and faction warfare. Now, who cares about faction warfare? So that's something that I don't mind. That my all other. So these are the big structure changes, and then Caleb said something about it, and I think that's also a very big change for us in there, is that we now CCP gets to play with us and doesn't have to hide behind a mask and hope they don't get found out and then get into witness protection, as they say. They're changing the policy that CCP is now allowed to let know that they're a CCP member on their player accounts, or if they get found out, they don't have to give it up anymore, and they can so just also be able to get into real alliances and experience EVE, how EVE is really played, and not like...
I mean, the players have been complaining for years that this is something that they want CCP to do, and it's a flaw that they don't get involved in these bigger groups in a more immersed way. But that means that we also have to not politic them out of the game, which is going to be hard for the players to not do.
Oh, we're just going to stalk them out of the game, right? I'm sure that there's going to be a ton of Fozzie stalkers.
Yeah, so we got to not ruin this as well for ourselves.
Oh yeah.
The players are going to ruin this, because as soon as CCP has any dev who is outed in a large group, the accusations of bias.
Yeah, we've got to not do that, and you can see that that's going to happen really quickly with people, because they even do it around nonsensy stuff like when they run roams.
Yeah, and it's bound to happen. It's just going to be whether or not it can be ignored.
Oh yeah, and I think, and they said it to that during the stream, huh? They request us, let us play. Don't talk about balance changes while we're playing the game, and just trust us that when we're using our player accounts, we cannot do more than you can do, and we have to make the ISK the same way you do. So, and they asking us to do that, and I think we should, because the advantages of them playing the game is just so much good for us as EVE itself, and they really knowing what's going to happen in all the groups that are around there and get more knowledgeable. So I think that's
we absolutely should, but I'm going to call it right now. Every single person in this chat will be guilty of not doing that within.
We will be guilty of not doing what?
Of not giving CCP the benefit of the doubt when it comes to bias and other issues. Every single person, at least once, in this conversation, and every single person in the Twitch chat, but within 1 year, will have opined that, oh, of course they did that. Look who they got. At least one.
No way.
You mean like? Give me an example.
I mean, like, let's say we find out that Fozzie is in Horde.
Okay.
Okay. And at some point, there's some change that benefits Horde. There's going to be, oh, of course they do. Look who's in there.
Yeah.
I don't think that would be fair, though.
At some point, it won't be fair. It will absolutely not be fair. And I am saying that we should absolutely avoid doing that. And I'm also saying that absolutely 100% within 365.25 days from right now, every single person in this conversation and every single person in the chat will have done that at least.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not to say that some change that they make. I think it's more likely what will happen.
I'm not saying what they're doing is bad. I'm saying we're going to fuck it.
Well, no. Here's what I think is more likely to happen. Somebody's going to say something, right? Okay, Fozzie's in Horde, right? I think it's more likely that wherever they are, they do a change that nerfs the gameplay in that area.
Yeah.
I think that's the more likely thing. I don't think they'll do something to enhance their gameplay playing with that group.
I completely agree, but that's not going to change what the players think is going.
Yeah, you're going to have that, and people will have to fight against that, right? I think if they're coming out and playing with the big groups, which I think is a bonus, right? Because you see parts of the gameplay where they were playing in the wormholes, right? They tried to put that in places where it didn't fit. Round peg or square peg, round hole type thing, right? And
I would just like to know what kind of advantage would it be to have a dev in your group when they don't have GM tools? I just don't see it.
Learning how the group plays, right? How they play the game, listening on comms. Like if they were in fleet comms, hearing people bitch about things that don't work, I think that's an advantage.
I think that's a benefit. But I think Caleb, to answer your question, you only have to look at our entry into the AT either a year ago or as soon as Mittens took the field, he was in because everyone was going to react to Mittens being on the field.
Oh yeah. It changes the dynamic. I'm just saying that
same thing in with a CCP dev, it being known in your group. If everybody knows who it is, then either you super tank his ship because everyone's gonna shoot at him, or you polarize his ship because everyone shot at him every goddamn time, so they're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, but they're gonna come incognito. Nobody's gonna know.
Well,
anything. I mean, it's gonna have to be hard.
Eventually, people will figure.
And then they just go in the witness protection program again, right?
Well, no, that's the whole point. They don't have to anymore.
Maybe we should give them some sort of benefit, like they can literally just re-roll the name on their character.
They should be able to re-roll. I mean, here's the thing. There's no way CCP should do this without being able to hide if they want to hide.
If they want to hide, sure, they can almost certainly do that. But if they want to hide, then half the people they're going to be hiding from are the people in their group.
Yes, and that's okay.
And no, that's not okay. That's not okay, and I'm not saying that's not okay because, oh my god, how could CCP hide? I'm saying that's not okay because that's what we have now. The problem here is CCP gets outed, and suddenly they have to relocate, they lose all those connections, they lose all those friendships, they're no longer playing with the same group, they're no longer seeing that part of the game. That's what they're trying to avoid.
But isn't it already that they're like not joining our groups now because they feel that they get outed too fast and they're not even trying to join the alliances, so as GSF, Horde, Test, and all those kind.
No, there was an internal restriction on it, right? Because they cheated.
Well, they can't be noted. They can't be known about it. They can join any group, just nobody can know. And what they said at the presentation was that they haven't been trying because the steps they take to protect their identity would basically get them labeled a spy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's an easier solution to that. Just nerf the ESI. Then everyone can be considered a spy.
So, thinking about how I got in Goonswarm, right? Not Imperium shit. Nobody in Goonswarm would know who I am real life based on what you guys do.
You literally have to come out and say that you are, or actually drop some like really like big hints that you are. Like it's kind of like, hey man, how you doing? I'm vegan, or I do CrossFit.
Sure,
like,
sure, but that's your professional life and your activities outside of Eve, which have nothing to do with Eve. Let's just, for a moment, all right, let's take Fozzie, for example. Again, not to harp on Fozzie, just because he's a convenient example that everybody knows. All right? Fozzie talks on comms. Maybe somebody picks up on his voice. It's possible. But now Fozzie tells an amusing story about what happened to him at work. Hang on a second.
Well, I mean, there are certain things you have to stay away from, right?
But it's not even that. Fozzie tells an amusing story about something that happened to him at work a few weeks ago. He takes out all of the names, takes out every reference to CCP, right? Except Rise told that story at an Eve meet the week before.
Yeah, well, there's certain things you stay away from. But yeah, I mean, being on voice comms is a little tough. You're right.
Know that they both told the same story.
Yeah.
People slip. People get relaxed and they talk, and they're gonna figure. You can't go into the situation thinking I will engage in perfect security, the likes of which the world has never seen, because it's not gonna work.
I think the hardest part of doing this is, let's just make the assumption they're going to be found out by some group of people in there, right? The hardest part,
and they don't have to hide.
Well, this is the hardest part of it, right? Every time they go in comms, somebody's going to say, "Hey, Fozzie, let me tell you about something in the game that's really bothering me."
Yeah,
that is going to be the worst part of comms, right?
It so will, and that's why they've specifically said, "For the love of God, please don't do that to us."
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the guy I do feel worst about for this is Fozzie.
Yeah,
can you imagine how much bitching they would be?
All I'm going to say,
Fozzie
all I'm going to say is Fozzie penned his recruiting. I'm just saying, he's welcome. Anybody from CCP is welcome in Penn, and we'll keep your secret.
Oh yeah, all the people.
And we won't bitch, and there will be no bitching about things to them.
We will bitch about Fozzie Soft if he's here or not. So
nah, I mean here we can bitch, but we wouldn't do that to him in comms. Talking to him, there's a difference.
Why not? Anybody from CCP?
I wouldn't do that to him.
From CCP, hit me up, and we'll talk about getting vouched into Wafa, and then you don't even have to go.
There you go. You don't have to go on StratOps.
No, nobody cares. Indeed, if you're a Wafa, nobody cares.
That's really a place where. But I'm still making the pen plug.
Can we get Larrigan into the Goon Cabal? Just as an intern, not as actually someone making money.
I don't know. I think he might just reactivate Dark Razor.
he can have Supercap fleets.
I mean that's something to consider.
I think CCP should have to take SOV as an organization.
Nah, they'd be under constant assault.
No, really?
Yeah, and so nothing would get done. Nothing would get done. What development would there be in the game?
How you like that SOV system now, buddy?
How do you like stagnation be even worse because the devs can't?
How you doing?
They can just dump like diamond rats on all the grids for their stations and just laugh at people.
By the way, Apple, you said that who cares about the whole tethering and faction war? Again, this comes down to how do you define hostile? If it means anyone who's not in the militia that controls that side at the moment, that means no free ports. If it's a low-sec faction warfare system, unless you're in the militia that controls it, you don't get to tether on your structures in that.
Oh yeah, that would be annoying.
And how else are you going to define hostile in faction?
I have no clue.
I mean, you can't define it as only members of the opposing militia, because Freeport structures is exactly what they're complaining.
Oh yeah, but those 3-push structures are useful because last week I needed to move my Titan from the area around Gemini to another place, and
They're useful to us, and they're also useful to the enemy militia. So,
Yeah,
but the great thing was that what me surprised most. Like I lighted 4 signals on my Falcon, and it's still alive. So I was very surprised that my Sino would live after jumping my Titan in 4 systems and got to my destination. I was like, nobody's going to kill me. One tried, but then after 2.5 minutes, my Sino was down and he still hadn't killed me, so I just walked off.
Right.
But yeah.
Should you be able to do things safely in a faction warfare system?
I have no clue.
I mean, it's supposed to be an active war zone. If you feel safe in an active war zone, somebody's doing their war.
Oh yeah, but haven't they decided not to do war anymore anyway with those groups? And I'm confused about it. Like I have 2 areas that I really don't care that much about. I see, and so now I'm going to get people angry at me. But in my opinion, wormholes are only useful for travel. And faction warfare, yeah, whatever happens there, who cares? And people will not like me for that, but that's just how I feel and how I do about that.
I mean, wormholes are like hardcore Eve, right? So no local, no asset safety.
Yeah, they're good for travel, so you can travel from one side of Null SEC to the other side of Null SEC. That's wormholes useful.
No, I mean the people that live in them, they basically playing Eve on hard mode.
Yeah, with the doorbell, yes, that idea. But that's something completely different. They should, but I don't see a use for that. But yeah, Arendis hates me for that already because he lived in wormholes for a long time. So, but yeah, that's just my opinion.
It's not your thing, man. That's fine.
Yeah, I use them for travel to get to where I need to be to fight people, and yeah, and if I get a fight in a wormhole, then that happens very rarely. And for the rest, yeah, that's that.
Hey, that's how I used to feel about nullsec when I was living in wormholes. That's how it's it's someplace I go when I need to travel and I got locked out. Just a different part of the game, man. Nobody should be getting upset at other people over.
So they're talking in chat about whether devs should be in big groups or not, and
they should.
And we've had development. I think it's about 3 years I put in there that it has been more small gang based, and it's just dumb and terrible.
Devs should be big groups and little groups.
Should be everywhere.
They should play all parts of the game.
At least now the rule is gone. That means that they can do this on any way they want, right? They can slowly creep in. They can make their own small organizations and groups just between themselves, and maybe with some of the ISDs that are actually also under some sort of gag order, right? So there's many ways that they can now creep into the game and have some fun, and it's going to be, of course, some will be outed eventually, but I think a lot of them will be flying under the radar. No one will ever know.
Right. And hopefully
we don't know all of their voices, right? There's going to be plenty of devs that we've never seen or heard of,
like Manbjorn.
Good
Who?
one.
Who?
Good one. He's somewhere laying pipe. I was told on stage.
Hold on. What? He's what?
He's somewhere laying pipe.
You know what that means, right?
Yes, I do. They were talking about something with plumbing, and there's a lot of plumbing to be made. So I guess he must be laying pipe.
I mean, do you have an actual field report on this, or
Good
you
work
just,
if you
or is this your opinion, your specation, your feeling?
No, he's paraphrasing what Hilmar's.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does Hilmar know what it means?
Probably.
No, it's not his first language.
Because I think maybe Hilmar's talking about fixing the game mechanics. Oh God, the rabbit holes we go down on this show.
It was kind of funny at work. Someone was using the phrase,
was it
prairie dogging? They were using prairie dogging, but they had no idea what it meant. And I'm like, bro, you need to stop now.
What in your context? What did it mean?
It means he's trying to hold in his shit, dude.
No. It means when you're peeking above your cubicle at work.
Nope, that's not.
I've never heard it in your reference.
Really?
All right. We're going. You're gonna put an R in chat for RJ if you think that's the meaning of prairie dogging, or you're gonna put an E in chat if I've got it right. Well, let's have a independent survey here.
Prairie dogging, man. Oh, you're getting Miss RJ up. She's prairie dogging.
Well, you're all full of shit out there in chat. First three people. Bullshit.
He thinks it's like peeking up over a cubicle.
It is. Prairie dogs peeking out of their hole.
Check the staff channel.
Here. Where is it? We're gonna.
Oh, look, we're going to the dictionary. Go. Arendis is pulling the dictionary out.
No, Eric, no.
Oh, there we go.
Dude, there. That's the. Oh, see, this is the cool rig cam. Oh, we got rig cam.
What are you doing? What is that? Is that?
I put a camera on my freaking microphone.
But
Boom.
Eric, now you ought to check it out.
Urban Dictionary's full of shit. They don't matter. Nobody cares.
Exactly, it's full of shit, and so are you because prairie dogging when you're full of shit.
So I've heard that referenced as turtling.
Yeah,
Not prairie dogging, turtling.
Well, that's prairie dogging.
Come on, Mrs. RJ, just get on the camera. Let's near the microphone. The fans want to know what you have to say.
Oh my god.
She
Sorry, I went into the Urban Dictionary. I should have done it. Oh god! Every time I go into the Urban Dictionary, I end up not being able to breathe.
breathe. We don't want you passing out on cam would be a bad thing.
That's why I put both links in the channel.
Arendis just likes to see a fight. That's all.
Eric,
his goal.
You just copy Eric. You should copy both of those links to the Twitch chat because
Okay.
I can't.
All right, we're gonna give both the links that Arendis put in here.
Here, where's mine? I think I'm a mod. I can post it. There. I gotta get off Urban Dictionary. I'm gonna pass out.
What's Mrs. RJ say? Turtling? What's her comments?
The turtle head.
Like, you know.
Here we go.
When it's
Here we go.
You let somebody put something in the wrong hole in the liner.
Whoa.
No, that's not turtling.
Well, it's, yeah.
Like it. Yeah.
We're going down.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Something about the only alternate reason I could think of if it's a little chilly outside.
Face it, Eric. The kids these days, their lingo has passed you by.
I know, it's terrible. I like the older, gentler times. When we had like the frickin' mafia that would kill you.
The innocence is gone.
Hey, I learned the turtling term from RJ, not from me.
Well, Mrs. RJ.
He changed my mind, though. It's not the other way around.
This sounds like a conversation for New Orleans. I'm just saying.
RJ, sorry. I think
the wrong hole.
I think it learned something that Mrs. RJ shouldn't listen to RJ because he's full of shit.
Well,
I might be prairie dogging.
It tells us a lot about it when she's just referencing it as the wrong hole.
That could mean a bunch of different.
Only hole.
Exit only. Tattoo.
Turtling, pulling yourself onto a beach and laying 400.
By the way, Borax, I've actually seen that happen.
Was it beautiful? The circle of life.
It actually was really cool. I think it was about 14 or something, and we were on vacation. Turtle came up, eggs.
Is that how it sounded? Just like.
No, I don't remember what it sounded like.
I swear to God, I thought Eric was going to say, we were on vacation, I was 14 or so, I just pulled up onto a beach and laid 400 eggs.
That was a lot. That was a big purchase at the grocery store.
Jesus.
You didn't see me do it. No, I didn't. No, it was it was down south. It was on one of the beaches. It was pretty cool. I have not been lucky enough to actually see the turtles hatch live and come out
She
and
says I
swim.
need to make a picture of this.
There needs to be no pictures from Mrs. RJ today. It would be.
There needs to be a picture of you on a beach with turtles or some shit.
400 eggs.
That's funny. All right, so let's get back to Eve. We have like 12 minutes left or something here.
Yeah.
Look at him! Look at him! Look at him! He's gonna pass out! He's gonna pass out! He's gonna turn red. If his ears turn red, we know he's going down. Look at him! He's like verklempt. Oh my god!
We've got the Hadian world record test today as well, and I think
they're not gonna make the world record. There is no way in hell they'll make the world record. I'm calling it now. And if they count bots, I'll call bullshit.
I think they're just about to start the final round of the 2v2s for whether Dead Terrorists or Volta go to Iceland. They're 1-1.
We form Volta.
Whichever group goes.
Oh, did you see that whining guy?
Will they keep them?
Did you see that whining guy from V4 Volta on the stream about how bad super umbrellas are and they're not getting to kill anything because they get supers dropped on them, and that's so sad for them? It was so good to see those tears of that guy. It was like, what the fuck?
They were delicious.
I mean, HiSec gets their own security force called Concord. Why can't we have our own security force called the fucking Super Umbrella?
It's called the game.
I mean, you want to see real tears, you already know that CCP are coming to nerf the Umbrella. That's when the real salty tears are going to begin. It's going to be an ocean of them.
Well, I mean, I just have the basic concept of your space. Null SEC isn't less secure. Null SEC is as secure as the occupant can make it. And whether that's a super umbrella or giant subcap fleets flying through, or somebody dropping on you from their jump gate, doesn't matter.
I specifically remember being on a fleet the other day where 3 of our Rorks got killed, and we tried saving them because of a dread bomb.
Yep.
I mean, it's just saying. We're just a security force. We got there late, but it was a fast form still. Just saying.
Yeah, and what he forgets is that that certain people are very good at forming harpies very fast and tackling things down, and then the supers finish them off. But most of the time, there is a harpy fleet around there because those people from Volta, those members of Volta are very good at, as soon as they see anything coming near them, to run away and just and don't want to take the fight anyway. They just want to have easy kills, and that's what they want. And they're whining about that they're not getting them anymore. So I don't really care about it, but it was just funny to see how he was there on stream and sad Pikachu face and all those kind of things.
What I'm getting at is you have a better chance of killing shit under a super umbrella than you do if there's like HiSec and Concord, because Concord's literally instant.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. Like, it's actually better than that.
Regardless, the whole point is, if CCP is actually going to try and nerf this, I really hope that they don't step in it and make a huge mistake. Because if they do this wrong and unbalanced, it's actually just going to benefit the people that are now seen as the problem.
I have zero problems with a super umbrella. I mean, you guys have to convince me that it's bad. I don't think that it's bad at all.
I have serious problems with the super umbrella.
It's a wet blanket that's thrown over the game that prevents content. It's bad and it's getting nerfed.
No,
and
not
I
even
think
that.
People will look forward to it getting nerfed.
I mean, think about it. Fucking super umbrella, these giant fucking, I mean, sure, great. It's fine if you don't want to be too sunny at the beach, but if you're trying to carry one of those gigantic fucking things around in the rain, just forget it. It's just not.
I have a giant. My wife came out the other day with one of those little umbrellas that fit in your purse. I'm like, how the fuck is that going to keep you dry? Like the giant fucking. I got Max Fly. You get them all. They're great. No, but in terms of Eve, I have no problem with a super umbrella. In fact, I think they're great.
I think a super umbrella is less an issue from places where you have the ability to do something about the super umbrella than places where it's very hard to deal with it anyway to like kill them. Because if people fuck up with the super umbrella or bring too lost stuff, there is always the way to dread bomb them and kill them in a lot of space. In some space it's not. And the people who are whining about it now are the people who living in a space where it's very hard to deal against the super umbrella. So I don't think they should know what they ask for.
Hey, if you don't like the super umbrella, get better and counter drop it because you can.
No, see that's the problem. The super umbrellas in and of themselves aren't really a bad thing, but super umbrellas that are incredibly pervasive, like just a super umbrella or a capital umbrella really wouldn't be a bad thing. The sheer size of the super fleets that are in the game that just make it completely impossible to get anything done in Null. That's a problem. It's the same problem we run into when we go to war. The only thing that you're going to use to deal with that super umbrella is your super umbrella. And quite honestly, that's boring as hell.
Yeah, and the problem is not that the supers, the problem is more that supers and titans and all the capitals apply too good to subcaps, and subcaps have no way of dealing towards them against it, that are too effective. If the super umbrella was there and they were less useful against subcaps, and you had to have subcaps on grid anyway, then the super umbrella wouldn't have been a problem anymore. So I think all the way comes just back to supers too easy to kill subcaps.
And also their mobility. If they reduce the ability to project power using them as well, you'll have to spread them out more rather than staging them in fairly central points. And that's another solution I'm guessing that they'll look at as well.
Or I haven't lost enough axes.
Or we haven't reduced power projection to the point of
I've only
stagnation.
had the one apostle shot out from under me, man. Think about that.
I will tell you, it's less a problem of the super umbrella and more of a problem. It's too easy to run away and just let people blow your shit up and take all your ships and come back another day.
No, see, that's just it. That's not it. It's not that it's too easy to run away. It's that the stuff that you really want to protect is the stuff that can run away. It's the supers. If the supers and the supers are what you want to protect because the supers are necessary. If the supers weren't necessary to holding space, people would be more willing to stand and fight.
Nah.
And I think when you see the changes they're making with the warp animations and the cyno animations and the formations when people land on grid, I think that's actually indicating that they're going to change the cyno mechanics so the larger stuff comes in more slowly than the smaller stuff. Because doing that sort of thing will stop the ships bouncing off each other. And that's why they'd be looking at those animations and that sort of formation stuff.
Well, no, what they've been looking at is the larger stuff comes in at a wider radius, not comes in.
I think you do the animation because you're putting a duration on it.
Why?
So
why does the animation develop off of duration at all?
Because you would need to do that before you make the mechanic.
Why? The mechanic is simple. Ship mass equals distance.
I mean, yeah, you could just have a boring thing where you're sitting on the Titan bridge waiting to jump and it's just counting down the timer, but it's much more polished to actually have that animation there that you're in warp for a longer time.
Why would you wait on a timer? You're so confusing. That.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm saying is, if you change the cynos, so when you go to use one, when you go to bridge, it takes longer for the larger ships. It's more polished if actually you're looking at an animation of that happening rather than just sitting there with the timer counting down in a pop-up window. Does that make sense?
Why would it take longer for small ships and timer? And I'm confused now.
So what you see on the other end is a cascade of ships coming onto grids. The smaller things first that can tackle, and the larger things more slowly. it's got a sort of build up. It's got a suspense built into it.
Yeah,
and
but
also if the
you can
sino
just
pops, then
you can
interesting
you
things
can
happen.
just offset that.
So it's a climax when all the avatars come in.
Yeah.
Well,
You're
it would
right,
be.
though. You
It
could
would be,
offset it,
except
but
that,
again, that's a delay.
the avatars that jump in, that land 30 seconds later, jump to 30 seconds.
But then what you've got in that situation is you sacrificing 30 seconds of getting tackle on grid.
No, you just have more sinos and more bridgers.
Yeah.
And you stagger based on delay, and you defeat.
I mean,
it.
your first sino is going to be the light shit with the tackle. Because if you don't get tackle, why bother lighting the next sino?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it means you'll lose your sub-cap fleet, right? You're making that decision. You're making a decision. That's the important part.
Why would you lose a subcap fleet?
Well,
if you're losing your subcap fleet, that means they're staying to fight, which means you're lighting the other sinos.
If you dump a subcap fleet onto someone that's already on grid with all their ships, and then you decide not to send in the supers, essentially what you're doing is
You only don't send the supers if you can't get tackle. If you can't get tackle, it's because they ran away. If they're not running away, then you're sending the super.
The thing is, and I don't care about this.
Or they blow up the sinos, right? So you're trying to sino the supers in separately on a separate sino, and they blow that up. Now you've got a subcap.
Sino doesn't necessarily have to be on grid to be blown up. I mean, they just land to a point and light. You know how long it takes to warp to the location.
What happens though if that sino gets shot while that?
Okay, but
hypothetical.
But Lux,
yeah.
Let's just back up a step here. So, the sino ship that gets to decide whether or not it's lighting, right? It's not getting blown up before it lights. Why is that not happening? It's not happening because it's cloaked, right?
It get blown up when it lights, and because
right. But hang on.
To get to it, you've got an interesting mechanic there.
It's not getting blown up beforehand because it's cloaked, right? So, if we're worried about, the delay might mean the sino gets blown up, that tells me, why did you only send one sino?
You never send one sino.
You never send one sino. You've dealt with recon enough. There's backups and backups for backups.
And if you have your subcapital fleet on grid, then you tell your subcapital logic taken care of by a renders logic anchor of my heart to wrap those sinos.
Oh, that's some serious crap you got there on your nose there.
So I think you'd want to change sinos to be like a bastion module, so you can actually rep someone with a sino lit. I mean, isn't that how it should work?
I don't know. I don't necessarily think that you'd want your sino to be unreppable. That CCP has said many times, including about this current iteration of sino changes, that they want cap fights. If your sino can't live, you don't get cap fights.
You can have a cap fight, but it'll be a different sort of fight, which is a bit more tactical because you don't just dump all your ships.
You won't have a cap. You won't have a cap fight. You know why you won't have a cap fight?
Because you won't want to put them at range,
because the other side will escalate. And you can't guarantee that your supers will make it in. So why are you throwing away your...
Well, the thing is, if you could light your sino at a longer range, and if you couldn't even get one on grid, you could even light one off.
So then you're not going to light one. That's FC 101. Like, if you have the idea that you cannot win the fight at all, or cannot out-escalate them at all, then you're not going to take the fight. Like, if there is a chance I can win, and there is risky I don't mind. But if there is not the risk that gives you the chance to win, and you cannot just get if they escalate, you cannot get your escalation on grid, then you not even will start the escalation chain, and there will not be a fight. So that's not going to happen.
I mean, there is a distinction between being able to get a Sino on grid and having the ships on the other side that can win the fight. I mean, there is a distinction there, right?
But they're connected.
But not if your Sino can't get repped. Then no, there's no distinction.
No.
If your Sino can't get repped, then all that has to be there to keep you from actually taking that fight is the presence of enough firepower to kill your Sino before you can reliably, because you're not going to send in half your fleet to die.
Well, do you ever remember watching the trailers basically for Eve, and what you see is the ships at range from each other?
Sure.
Burning towards each other.
I also remember the fact that This Is Eve was such a remarkable trailer because it actually showed people playing the game the way they play it.
Well,
People don't behave the way CCP's trailers think they.
Well, that's what I mean. They don't, right? So it's sort of a false trailer.
They won't.
But if you could make changes that get you closer towards the vision that they've been selling for 15 years.
Nobody wants to slow boat to the flight.
People will still act like people.
And why would we go towards CCP's vision? Because we want to play the game so as we want to play it. We pay for the game. It's a sandbox, and we get to, within the rules of the game, we get to decide that. And we want big fights, and we want to get on grid. So Sinos need to be there to be on grid. And we're talking about Sinos anyway. Please make sure we can get Sinos back on Hectors and command ships. Thank you very much.
Can you?
That would be.
I just want to go over. I just want to actually go over what you said, Lux. Right. So if we played the game like the trailer was, and our Sinos Sinoed everybody in, and we've got fucking 10% tie-dye, and we have to slowboat Titans and capital ships and everything and supers to the center to actually maybe fight someday this century, that would be awesome.
What?
Except that nobody's going to drive it.
Nobody's going to do it.
That's the thing, though. Like when you look at actually jumping into system, would tie-dye apply to that timer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it'll apply to everything, including your slow boat that will take you 4 hours just before you can fire a shot.
I mean, that's the whole point of time dilation, is that it has to apply to everything.
No, what I mean, it gives you an advantage, right? So if you light a Sino in tie-dye, they're not going to be able to shoot you as quickly, which gives people outside of the system that aren't affected by tie-dye more time to actually jump to it to get onto grid. So actually, it works quite nicely with tie-dye already.
No, it doesn't.
Any advantage you're talking about there is already in the game. It's not like that's a change. I mean, I don't necessarily think that is an advantage, but if it is, it's already there.
Yeah, but what I'm hearing is, if they made a change that made it more tactical about lighting Sinos, we just wouldn't play. We wouldn't take fights, and I think that's sort of nonsense.
I'm basically saying that if they made a change that made Sinos unreppable, which is what you said, you don't want your Sino to be reppable, you want it to be like a Bastion module, then at that point, the presence of enough firepower to kill that Sino before everybody on the other side can jump through means nobody takes it.
Correct. Well, like you said, you'd respond by bringing multiple Sinos.
Sure, but you already do that.
So what's the
So
problem?
why do you need the Sino to be unreppable?
So it can be shot, so people aren't just lighting Sinos on top of each other.
But they
already will light more on top of each other.
Even if it can be shot, and you're talking about backup Sinos, all the backups light at once because now you've got to shoot multiple fucking things at the same time, which means they all have a chance of living longer.
So you don't think that that's feasible at all?
It's not that I don't think it's feasible. It's that I think that human nature means people will continue to behave like people, and they will always look for the path of least resistance. The least work they have to do. And if doing something means more work, they'll go do something else.
And that includes not playing Eve, as we've seen with the latest fiasco of Chaos.
if we're talking about a situation where someone's attacking one of your structures, like you're going to figure out a way to get onto that grid. Even
If we're talking about a system, where someone's attacking one of my structures, I'm going to let it go to reinforce, and at the timer, I will get there first because it's my structure. I'm already there. And then they're the ones facing this problem. This problem is all the question on the attacker's side because the guy defending the timer has days to move shit into position.
I think the discussion. Sorry.
First, I think
the discussion we have with you now about these sinos proves that devs need to play in big groups and get into the big fights, so they know what's really happening there, and have an idea what happens there, etc. Because this sounds so illogical, and the ideas you have from me. Sorry to say, because I have seen so many of these kind of fights and have been part of the decisions, and made the decision myself, subcap wise, to either drop or not drop in, based on decisions that we make now and happen here. So
I got to bounce. I'll catch you guys later.
Yeah, see you, Rennis.
Just saying.
Thanks for coming.
I think what we're seeing is, in the future, when people use sinos, it's going to take a longer time to get larger ships onto grid. I don't think that's such a strange idea.
I just asked for the rationale logically. Why?
I'm just going to stop talking about and thinking about this because you confuse me out of hell. And let's wait until CCP decides something or wants to do something, and then we can talk about it, because this is so confusing to me. I don't.
It's very, very simple.
No, it's confusing. Sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That it takes time to walk based upon your size.
That makes less sense to me. So I would look at it this way, right? I'll just give you an example, right? I would argue it takes you longer to get a large fleet at all onto the field via a Sino. Sino
mass, not ship mass. Mass.
Nope.
The fleet has the mass. The total fleet has a mass.
Yeah, so if I want to put 250 subcaps, or I want to Sino in one Titan, I would tell you that the 250 should take longer to get there than the one Titan.
Well, do you want a system where there's like an upper limit to how many ships can go to a single Sino?
No.
Or what does that look like?
Well, and that's how do Sino mechanics work? Is it a single ship locking on to the Sino and sending itself there? Or is it funneling through a bridge where it has to enter based on a Titan bridge, right? A Titan bridge to a Sino and ships funneling through that should be harder and take longer. A ship that locks onto a Sino and goes directly there itself under its own power should get there faster. That makes sense logically in how science might actually work.
I think you've got a big problem where your most powerful, largest ships in the game are...
That's a different question. I'm talking about science and how science should probably work under the situation of the mechanics. Well, you're talking about arbitrarily making a rule to make fights work the way that you want them to work. That's different.
If you talk about the ships that have the power to jump under their own power, you're talking about things like Titans, right? Who actually can do that.
And ostensibly have their own warp capability built into them, which is massive and sized for the ship. A ship that doesn't have its own warp capability and is funneling through another ship's capability, two other ships' capability, right? Because they can't lock onto a Sino. Subcaps can't lock onto a Sino. They're only going through the bridge that the Titan locked on. Therefore, they're funneling through some other mechanic, some other force of physics. And therefore, technically, that should have a limiter to how many could go through at a particular time. Whereas a ship that locks on itself, bam, right there.
I think this is a great discussion. We should talk about something else in another place in another time, because it makes no sense. And some other people talking about in the chat, like they don't make sense out of it also anymore. And we're already 15 minutes over time. So before Eric gets yelled at very hard, I think we should go do our last round and those kind of things.
Yeah. By the way, me saying that I think scientifically this makes more sense based on what the rules of physics might or might not be, right? Doesn't mean that I advocate for it, and doesn't mean that I think it makes good gameplay. I want to make that clear to everyone in the channel, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was coming at it from...
We're stopping talking about it now. We have talked about it.
Apple Pear has laid down the law. You know what I'm thinking, Apple Pear?
Science fiction.
Hold on. I watched this show because, okay, we have Verizon and unlimited plan, and we get Disney Plus for free. So my wife found this Christmas movie that wasn't released yet, right? And you had the head elf, and the head elf had a gavel. And this gavel was made of like a giant peppermint candy, you know, those little round peppermint candies that they have. And every time you would hit it, he would bust it. And then, of course, you would eat the candy, right? And that's how I see Apple Pear right now. He's got this fucking gavel, and he's like, BAM! You guys are all going to shut up. We have candy. Sorry, it's an aside. Probably wasn't funny for half of you, but it was funny for me. I liked the movie. And it had Anna Kendrick in it, so... My wife liked it, and I liked it.
It's just like, you say Sino one more fucking time.
We're going to be banned from saying that word for, we're having to say it for, you know, that game mechanic that we're not allowed to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, you support a quota for how many times you can say Sino? Me personally, I think it's like more like a duration between when I can say Sino.
But shall we do the last round, Eric?
Yeah, let's do the last round. One last thing, and we'll go through. And by the way, I'm allowed to go all the way to 4 Apple Pear if I want. But the most important thing is we haven't tweaked Mrs. RJ again in this show, and that's a pretty big, impressive achievement.
She's
So
running around the house. I'm about to have to run around the house too.
I'm going to start with you, Lux, for one last thing. We're going to go one last thing today. Do you know what one last thing is, Lux? You get to say whatever it is you want the last thing to be on your stuff.
I would say log in, download the Hadian client, and see if you can help them break the record.
Alrighty. RJ?
Panda's recruiting. That's all I got.
Yeah. Are they recruiting CCP people?
Yeah, we'll take CCP
Okay, yeah,
people.
we'll be nice. We'll be gentle.
We won't.
Very gentle.
Like, is docs the right word for that? Does that count?
Yeah, it counts. We wouldn't do that. We would not. We would. I mean, you know, complaining about CCP on the show is one thing. Playing with them is different. That's just so
I
wrong.
actually want to pick their brain on the side, like powder.
No, you're not allowed. No. Caleb, gavel.
Once we get talking, they won't stop. They'll talk shop.
Gavel.
I just want to say that I pretty much predicted this. CCP Rise is the Messiahs and the Jesus feature that we needed, and he has proven that.
Are you gonna make me make another picture, Caleb?
No. I got the one. I only need the one. I'm not going to spread it until it's actually until he is completely risen. So don't. He's in the mode of don't touch me yet.
Is that in April? Is that in April?
When is the third day, Caleb? When's the third day?
That's already come and gone. He's at the don't touch me yet because I have not yet ascended to CEO yet.
A chariot in the sky.
There's just
at the right hand of the Father.
There's just so many wrong-ended biblical things I could say right now. I'm just gonna not say.
Oh, please do.
No. Maybe no. No. I would be twisting your words, and it wouldn't be nice. Apple Pear, you're up, brother.
Yeah, and I'm happy about the changes. I'm surprised, Caleb, that your last thing wasn't talking about the announcement that for the end of the year they're going to do something about resources. So I'm going to just tip that on, and that Caleb will be happy about that, and we will see what that brings us.
He was too vague, and also with the free market thing, we didn't get any details, so I had no comment.
Okay.
Alrighty, I'm just going to be quiet because I said enough today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And for all my friends in the United States, have a great Thanksgiving next week, and we will see you after it. And with that, we are out of here. I wonder if I actually set up the outro. So everybody, we're just going to find out live if I actually set it up and it works. If not, I'll just end the stream. So later, everyone.
For the permit. I don't care if you buy a permit. Do you know how little I actually care if you have a permit?
Complaining about the fact that he received no support from that. I think Boat has some.
Yes, I
some
do.
leaks for us.
Oh, I got some leaks for you.
It's like simple shit like that. No, simple shit like that. If he can't answer that publicly,
I need to break in because I need more original every week. That's a goal.
Do you really actually get paid for that? Because you deserve money for that last one. That one was a fucking amazing setup.